just hiking out of the Yellow Springs campsite. That is one supposedly haunted, but I didn't see any ghosts last night. And I got in and I was wiped. It was a little bit after 5. I carried some water in because it's a dry site. Set up my tent and wondered if I might be by myself, but usually this time of year there's some hikers that pass through, and sure enough, Trash Panda and Sparky came by, and then Double Check and another guy came in, so we had a good time just kind of hanging out. And I woke up real early. Birds got me up at 5, so I went ahead and packed up, had some coffee, chatted a bit, and now I'm back on the trail. And I am trying to figure out, since I've changed up my schedule a little bit, I'm going to miss my package that's in Port Clinton because I'll probably be going there on Sunday. So I may, if there's a big road crossing near Lickdale, and I might see if I can get an Uber into Port Clinton, grab my package, and then get back on the trail. But I will decide that later. For now, I am heading on up to the Rausch Mountain Shelter, which is about 5 miles away, I think. I hear it's got a wonderful spring, and I'm planning on doing a little washing there because everything I own stinks. And I'm like so sweaty and muddy, and I just want to get a few things clean before I head on down the trail. We've got mud in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, all day long. Pennsylvania's looking a little bit like Vermont. It's pretty soggy, especially in this stretch here. Check out this little creature I found in the creek. He's not very big. I don't know what he is. It's a little hard to read that sign, but I'm at the trail junction here with the Sand Springs Trail, and an arrow showing the general, which I read about in the AWOL guide, but well, all I read was the general, so I assume that that's some kind of a sight to see, but I'm not going to go down that way. Hopefully I'm not missing something really big. I'm just sort of cruising on my way to the Rausch shelter. And I don't know, a couple things. I mentioned that I was pretty wiped yesterday. I was so tired from the rocks and just the pain it wears at you that by the end of the day I was kind of starting to see things and hear things, which is never a good sign, and stumbling. So it's important, I think, to listen to your body. When you start getting signals like that, you know it's time to stop for the day and rest up. So anyway, I'm feeling better this morning, but my stomach is still a little bit off. Usually that's a sign I haven't had a salad in a couple weeks, which is the case. So next time I get the chance, I will get some veggies in me, which my body definitely needs. And I don't know if I mentioned before that I lost my dinner bag. I felt really stupid because in my food bag I separate everything out by lunch and dinner, breakfast, each in its own Ziploc. And apparently I was so tired in Duncannon at the church hostel that when I made my dinner, I left the bag sitting on the counter and completely forgot about it. And when I was packing up my bag to leave, I thought, man, why is my pack so small? And I just mailed a couple things home, and I didn't think that they'd really make a big difference in the size of my pack, so I was a little baffled. But I didn't realize that the dinner bag wasn't missing till I got into the shelter and wanted dinner. So apparently Trash Panda found it and didn't know whose it was, and he was the last one in there, so he just went ahead and tossed it in the hiker box, which means at least some other hikers will have some good dinners. And since I'm in kind of a remote area, if I can't get to Port Clinton tonight to get my package from the post office, I'm just going to be eating some odd meals. I'll take my breakfast, lunches, and snacks and reconfigure a little bit until I can get someplace where I can get a little bit of a resupply or find a hiker box that's got some ramen and some other things in it. I should also mention that that was at Peter's Mountain Shelter when I discovered my missing dinner bag. And there were some section hiking ladies there who were very kind. They were wrapping up a 5-day trip, and they went through their food bags and gave me some tuna and some freeze-dried spaghetti and a couple other things, some crackers and some bars. So I'm definitely not going to starve. I might just be eating some weird meals. And when I got to the shelter, they had their tents set up inside the shelter, I think because they didn't want to have to contend with bugs. And I think they may have expected that there really weren't going to be many hikers, but the shelter was full. And so it's really kind of a breach of shelter etiquette to do that, but I didn't want to say anything and embarrass them. Another hiker later in the evening came in and was kind of asked sort of loudly to another hiker, "Why are there tents in the shelter?" I'm sure the ladies heard and hopefully got the message, but they were very sweet and I'm very thankful for their kindness. So I will forgive them that transgression. Looks like a spring right here running into a very nice creek down the hill that way. The waterfall I can't quite see. And I'm just not even half a mile from the shelter, and it looks like you could camp here before the shelter. In that space down there, it's nice. Nice and flat sites with the sound of the creek running by. The water is a little orange from the tannins and from color iron in the local rocks, but it's harmless, so as long as you filter, you're good. It'd be a very nice place to stay tonight if you didn't want to go all the way to the shelter. I just came down the road from Swatara Gap shelter, got my trail laundry done, took a little bath, that sort of thing, and I'd heard that this river down below there is blocked up by beaver dams. This is water crossing Beaver Dam ahead, and I think that there's about a mile or so of trail that's pretty much underwater. So they have set up this dry route for 1.6 miles. Actually, if I remember correctly, the wet route, the dammed up route, it's about 6 inches deep and it is 1.3 miles. And I'm going to go ahead and take the dry route, even though it's a little bit longer. Just because there's been so much mud already and it's really hard on my knee, and I want to try to protect my knee as much as possible. So I may have a little road walking to do to get around this, but both are official AT routes, so I won't be losing out on anything by choosing this path. So I am heading this way. So I don't know if I look any cleaner. I definitely feel cleaner, and that can do wonders for your mindset. So I was able to wash up a little bit. There was a wonderful little spring there at Swatara Gap at the shelter that goes into a trough and then spills over into, runs down into a creek. And so I just used a Ziploc bag and some Dr. Bronner's to wash a couple of bagfuls of clothes and hung them up to dry for, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. They're still damp. They're kind of hanging off the back of my pack there. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, hiker trash. So anyway, at least they're clean and not stinky, and I feel so much better, even though what I'm wearing is a little bit damp. It's definitely a lot fresher and less smelly. This is what the alternate route looks like so far. Looks like a long, straight country road. This is the second leg of the reroute. The first was about a mile on that long, flat dirt road. And then you turn off to the right to this Forest Service road, going uphill a little bit and I think downhill at the end for about, I'm guessing, half a mile maybe. It is the middle of the day, in the middle of a heat wave, and I'm hot. Now, assuming I'm still on the reroute, because I haven't seen another sign, getting back to the trail definitely involves a bit of a climb. Man, it's a little tough just powering it up this hill. Well, I made it. It was a long climb up that old Forest Service road, but I'm at the turnoff here. That's where the other route goes. And this is the AT, and I see a rock with my name on it for just a little break before I continue on. Well, I just chucked gut hooks, and the bad news is I've got about another 200 feet of elevation game to climb up before I get to start going down again. But it's nice because up here there's a breeze, and when I first turned off onto that Forest Service road, it was just open, exposed, and hot, 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 hot. So I did get a little breeze as I started climbing up the hill, but it feels much, much better here. So I'm gonna savor the breeze for just a minute and then start hiking again. I just passed a really weird pile of clothing. It's all black. Boots, shorts, shirt. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know where the guy is who left it all. Alright, I have to confess that I am not enjoying this stretch of trail at all. Looks like there was a fire burn here and stuff is growing up, and It's just rocky. Like I keep tripping because the rocks are so irregular, lumpy, different sizes, whatever. And it's a narrow trail, so it just makes it hard to mind your step. And it's killing my knee, and I tripped bad and strained my ankle that was already sore. So I'm just having a little private pity party right now. Not loving this, and it looks like it's another couple miles actually to get down off this ugly mountain, whatever it is. I don't find it very beautiful, unfortunately. So that's the sourpuss in me coming out for a minute. Oh, this one looks like fun. I'd almost rather just wade right through it, but hopefully I can get across without falling in. My balance isn't that great because I haven't been feeling well, but I will do my best. Alright, I survived that one. And now I've got this one. Lots of traffic whizzing by. I am at Swatara Gap by the entrance to Swatara State Park right near 81. And I have somebody coming to pick me up that I think you guys are going to be so excited to see. And I have to tell you, I am so excited. I am so happy because I was having a really crappy afternoon. I just was having a very hard time with those rocks and the pain and the heat, and everything was getting to me. And I talked to this mystery guest and my day turned around. So when she gets here, I'll show you who I'm going to be hanging out with.